Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. We're live here on ESPN Plus. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley and Shaka Hislop. Loads going on today. Liverpool losing their first game of the season. Spurs dropping points at home. And I suppose another defeat for Manchester United will have to be mentioned as well. But we'll kick things off in La Liga. Over their city rivals. Of course, ESPN FC were there in the Spanish capital. Let's get some reaction from our team now.
No hemos entrado bien, no hemos jugado bien ni colectivamente, ni la calidad del juego sin balón, con balón, no hemos estado al nivel que podemos estar y sabíamos, estamos en una fase de construcción. Hoy es la primera derrota, pero esto sigue, tenemos que sacar conclusiones de lo que ha pasado, porque seguro que nos van a poder servir para el futuro, pero no hay excusas. Estamos dolidos, como está la afición, en un derbi una derrota merecida, que no hemos estado ni con el juego, nos ha faltado una marcha y no duele la derrota.
Well, let's not get away from this basic fact. And I know, obviously, you've seen it. It's on the screen. It's on the scoreboard. It's 5 goals against a team like Real Madrid, who this season, it wasn't just that they weren't conceding goals. They weren't really conceding chances. I'm going to admit this. Ali was talking about being proven wrong. This midweek, I was asked about Real Madrid, and I said I was a bit worried that they were going to be boringly good, that they were going to be good this season in a way that just denied opponents the chance to create any chances, that they weren't going to allow anyone to even really compete with them today. And today we saw the complete opposite. We saw an Atletico Madrid team that went right through them and did it repeatedly, and I thought they were brilliant.
Yeah, they were fantastic, and Ale was so wrong.
Nobody saw this result coming. 5-2 to Atletico Madrid. They were sensational. Real Madrid were awful, and you'd have to say a bit alarming, weren't they, today?
Yes, this was their first major test, wasn't it? We said that. The opposition they faced already in La Liga are not strong enough to trouble them. They conceded a lot of chances against Marseille at home in the Champions League, and today, I mean, they were just dominated, weren't they, in the central defences. It's back to their old problems of last year. They haven't changed much. Beaten the weaker opposition, and they melted today, and it's a huge wake-up call for Xabi Alonso. Maybe they needed a kick up the backside to sort themselves out, because this type of performance against stronger sides, and they'll come across stronger sides in the Champions League certainly, you know, they will have to improve a lot, because defensively they've brought 3 in the summer, and they've got a lot of the players back who were injured last year, but it hasn't mattered to Jot. They look really, really vulnerable, and they're not going to trouble any of the big teams in Europe if they perform like that, because they were too weak, too disjointed, too open, and you cannot do that for every single game.
Are you saying this is just a blip for Real Madrid, or this is about as good as they are when they're put in with a team that can play a bit, as Atletico did today?
Yeah, they look as if they're not playing as a team. It's very much an individual basis. It's very much, hopefully Kylian will score a worldie, or Vinny Jr. will do something outstanding, which they will do, and they'll get away with it a lot. But I thought they didn't perform as a team today. One team performed really well as a whole, and that was the team that were victorious. And let's be honest, they scored 5, and they missed a good few. The chance where Thibaut Courtois makes a great save from Sorloth. Sorloth, after 2 minutes, he could have got a hat-trick. This could have been more. This could have been really chastening experience for the team in white today.
We've been going under in a lot of games this season, but like I said before the game, you have to keep a clear head. You have to know that the chance is going to come, and I think I saw all around us in the eyes of my teammates that we believed today, and that was good to see.
We saw an Atletico de Madrid that we haven't seen for quite a long time. Atletico de Madrid with personality, with character, to have the ball, to move Real Madrid from one side to the other side, creating opportunity. To last games against Real Madrid, the way that they created opportunities was with those crosses and crosses and crosses. Nico is fantastic in the air, Solo has proven, we've seen it so many times. So you create a lot of problems for Real Madrid, and you dominate it. You have more possession in the most critical situation. So Atletico Madrid did a lot of things different, and all of them they were done it in a style.
Vengo bastante bien con la falta, y también en esa estábamos con Nico y le dije, si querés pegarle por afuera de la barrera, te gusta pegarle. En un momento me dijo sí, después al final me dijo no, pegale vos. Así que nada, terminamos tomando una buena decisión.
No sé cómo hace para patear esos tiros libres, que la pelota se cae y cuando ya sale va para adentro. Me hace acordar un poco a Pantic cuando pateaba esos tiros libres fantásticos en la puerta del área. Y la verdad que es un futbolista que yo lo que le valoro más allá de todo lo que se le ve, es la humildad que tiene. La humildad para correr, la humildad para trabajar, la humildad como campeón del mundo, estar en el Atlético de Madrid, correr todos los partidos, juegue contra quien juegue. Y eso lo tenemos que cuidar, sigo insistiendo. Es un futbolista que el club, nosotros como cuerpo técnico, los compañeros, la gente, lo tenemos que cuidar porque se tiene que quedar muchos años acá y tiene que ser muy importante para la historia del club.
So Real Madrid's first drop points of the season. Barcelona in action tomorrow with a chance to go first. Meanwhile, for Atletico Madrid, that victory lifts them up to fourth in the table after what was a stuttering start to the season. This was absolute men against boys. Atleti were fantastic. Real Madrid was shocking.
Well, we could talk about the defence and all those little pieces there from the guys on site. They did. And for those that saw this game, the first 45 minutes in particular, any cross into the box, and there was a lot of them, Real Madrid were at 6s and 7s. I mean, Huijsen he could not handle Sorloth. Even Militao, with his experience before he went off, he could not handle the ball into the box. So that was a huge worry for them. I think a lot of this is on Alonso as well. And what if you're Mastantuono, right? And I think this tells you a lot about the mindset. Here we have a young man, and he is a young guy, he is inexperienced, but here we have a young man who's looked hot at the start of the season. He's looked on fire, he's looked cocky and comfortable, and he's looked to create things. And you have your first big domestic derby of the season, and he leaves him out. He leaves him out. It's away from home, so you think, well, away from home, maybe he's having a little bit of a panic up. But he brings in a guy in Jude Bellingham that's had, I think Ian Dark said, he's had 21 minutes of football. In what? 2 months? 2.5 months? Going into a derby away from home? He's not ready for that. He's not ready to come into a game of that intensity. And I'm not blaming Jude Bellingham, but you're basically a man down. So when you're a man down in midfield because he's not fit enough, then that puts pressure on the other midfielders. That puts pressure on the back four. And Atletico were excellent in that area. Look, Atletico Madrid, we sat here a couple of weeks ago, or 10 days ago, what's going to happen to them, this big gap. They've had a monumental week because they were losing 2-1 to Vallecano late on, and they dug that one out big time, and they were brilliant today. I mean, I heard Macker in the commentary at 4-2 going, why is he going super defensive? Because they could score 5 and they could score 6, but that is their DNA. And the boys were right. They could have scored 6, 7 or 8 today against this Real Madrid side. So this was the humongous kick in the backside that maybe Xabi Alonso needed for some of his players, but maybe also 1 or 2 of his players looking at Alonso as well and going, okay, so I'm delivering for you, but when the big game comes, you're going back to the so-called tried and trusted, even when they're not fit. So a bad day all round on the field and off the field for Real Madrid.
When Real Madrid were bad last season, they were overrun in midfield. And we saw that yet again today. We saw that in the Marseille game, of course, where they were lucky to get that victory. It's a real concern that Xabi Alonso is looking to address, but you just look at the personnel that he has. Is it a case that he hasn't got the players to be able to do it? Is he not employing them in the right positions? Is this a one-off, or is this a concern?
Listen, without question, he has the players to do it. If you look at the talent of Bellingham, who we spoke about all of last season, Gula, Mastantuono, who's come on and been simply outstanding. Freddy Valverde continues to be one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the game today. So it's not a question of whether they have the players or not. Luis Garcia spoke about personality and more directly about Atletico's personality. And I think that's where this game was both won and lost. Real Madrid, for me, their players looked as though, like, this is a Madrid derby and this is not what we were expecting. We expected a far easier time of this. And in fairness, I thought between Huijsen and Carreras on the left-hand side,
Carreras had a shocker.
They were decidedly poor on the day. But again, 2 young players, their first Madrid derby, so you want to cut some slack. On the other side, the right-hand side between Militao and Carvajal, you've got all the experience, all the know-how. And then in midfield, I thought once Real Madrid took the lead, I expected them to be able to control the game a whole lot more. And that's where I thought they lacked personality, probably missed Mastantuono. alongside Arda Güler, just to get control of the ball, to control the game, to take some of the tempo out of it. But there was nobody there to do that. Real Madrid simply were not able to, and it allowed Atleti, feeding off the emotion of their fans, feeding off the emotion of the derby, to just go on and run riot here. And in all honesty, Real Madrid had simply no answer for Soloth and Julian Alvarez. And you have to say that I thought as a performance, it's not what I was expecting, and quite clearly not a game they were expecting.
He's had a lot of praise, Xabi Alonso, thus far. I mean, they've not played brilliantly, but they were pitch perfect until this point in terms of points. Not only do I think his team selection was wrong, particularly with the Bellingham introduction at the start, he then takes Arda Güler off for Mastantuono on 59 minutes. Not Tchouaméni, not Valverde, not Bellingham. Bellingham didn't come off till 70, hasn't played any football. He lasts 70 minutes. Güler comes off, who played the pass, I believe it was him that played the pass for Mbappe, and he scored a brilliant goal. Yes, he gave a penalty away, but you know that doesn't take away from his offensive capabilities. And yet, he takes him off for Mastantuono coming up. That was another one. I was watching the game thinking, why is he coming off? It's almost like he was the easy one to take off. I don't want to take any of those other big experiences. And he's been showing this far, it would seem, Xabi Alonso, that he hasn't been frightened to make big decisions, but it was almost like he would...
But is it easier to make big decisions against games you know you're going to win? Like, it's all right to rest Vinicius Jr. against...
Make a statement against Oviedo.
Exactly.
Make a statement in this game.
Exactly. This is where you're really found out as a coach, and at the certainly in this evidence...
because bigger players never like to come off, but they certainly don't like to come off in the big games.
Yes.
The game that everybody's watching. The game that you really need to win. The game where the pressure's on. When you go out for dinner tonight in Madrid and you lose, they're on your case. The punters are on you. These massive games. And maybe that came into his thought process. That being said, though, the back line, we can't get away from the fact that if he'd have got all those other areas correct, it may have been different, but probably wouldn't, because Soloth, his physicality, he could have had a couple more. Alvarez is just...
Yeah, I was going to say a word on Alvarez. Talk about proper player.
Yeah, tell me where his best position is in the front line. You put him in the right, you put him in the left, you put him through the middle, you put him behind. He's got it all. The only thing he doesn't have is that physicality of the height, but they have others that can do that. And his set pieces are brilliant. His running ability is brilliant. He's technically a very good player, and he's a superb finisher in the final third in terms of he's very efficient. He's very efficient when he's in those areas where it's not a one-on-one, where it's not a guaranteed... it's not an easy chance, it's a difficult chance, and more often than not, he hits the target, makes the goalkeeper make a save. Those kind of players are the quality players, because they're not wasteful, and Julian Alvarez is certainly not a wasteful player.
I thought Atleti on the whole were very good. And let's be honest.
How many saved did Old Black make in the second half?
I can't remember any, to be honest. And the two goals were giveaways. The first was well crafted. Yeah. They get kind of sucked into midfield, and Arda Güler plays a really nice ball around the corner. So give Güler his credit, give Kylian Mbappe his credit for the finish. But from an Atleti perspective, you can't get sucked in like that and leave that kind of room, leave those channels open with Kylian Mbappe on the park. And then the second goal was Lindemann, it was a mistake. And still, you score 5. It quite easy, I think Craig said, it quite easily could have been 3 or 4 more, in all honesty. And I thought that was Atleti, certainly their best this season, but the best that we have seen them for quite some time, against a team who, up until now, were absolutely perfect. Pressed well, pressed effectively, and just outran, had more character, more personality. We come back to that word than Real Madrid.
Just quickly, there's 2 players have come into 2 big clubs from Bournemouth. Nothing against them, good players. Huijsen and Kirkes. And Huijsen's had it relatively easy up to now, but he's just had his first taste. I know he's played for Spain recently, and he's got some international caps, but not in this level of intensity. And he's just got a taste of life outside, playing for a small club in that huge arena in a cauldron. And it was, if we're being honest about it, it was a real struggle for him today. and we've seen the struggle Kerkez has had thus far at Liverpool. There's a big difference playing in a small provincial club and stepping up to the big time, and we're seeing that very early with these two players.
Well, Barcelona would have thoroughly enjoyed what they witnessed at the Metropolitano as the Hansi Flick side have the opportunity then to go top of the table. They're at home against Real Sociedad. Our coverage of that game starts at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+.
And these red cards are costing them.
Yeah, most definitely. Of course, we saw the same, didn't we, when they took on Manchester United as well. Enzo Maresca, again, you question what substitutions he made in response to that red card as Brighton go to the bridge and take all 3 points. And Shaka, we've seen these sort of performances from Chelsea, and they are so concerning if I'm a fan, because you just know that Chelsea have these sort of performances within them. And I know they were down to 10 men, but even before then, Brighton grew into this game.
I thought, certainly in the first half, when it was 11v11, Chelsea were in total control. I mentioned on the right-hand side, between Estevao and Reece James, I thought they combined wonderfully well. And really, you didn't see anything but a Chelsea win, especially once Enzo Fernandez scores that opener, and you feel they go on to build on that. But then second half starts, and Chelsea make mistakes at the back, and it cost them. And from there on in, I'll be honest, I was surprised that it took Brighton as long as it did to kind of break the deadlock, because they were so much better, and understandably so. It's 11v10, and Chelsea held out for as long as they could. But once they did, I thought Brighton took all the momentum to it, and Chelsea simply did not have a response. And while I was so full of praise for Chelsea going forward and the right-hand side and how they were able to control the game in midfield, there was anything but in the second half. And it really was a backs to the wall, let's just hold on here as best we can, even at 1-1, let's just hold on here as best we can. And ultimately, I have to say, it's a fair result.
But they've not figured out, Chelsea, and they should be better than this. They've not figured out, when they've lost a man, how to be tough to beat.
There's that soft belly about them, isn't there?
And people might say, well, 10v11. Listen, we've all done it. We used to do it in training. Sometimes the manager would mix the numbers up in training and say, right, go and break them down. You can still be difficult to beat. You're going to lose something offensively going forward. Of course you are. You're going to lose that easy possession. But you have to learn in adversity how to grind out a result. We saw it at United last week. The manager had a panic up.
Yes.
An absolute panic up. He was like, subs. And then Cole Palmer got injured. He had to take him off as well. They have to learn, if they're going to make bad decisions, how to sort of galvanise themselves and try and nick a result. The 2 games they've lost, men to red card, 2 games in a row, they've just absolutely folded and been too easy to beat. And as you mentioned, Liverpool are coming up. I don't know, what Liverpool side are going to pitch up. But this is a Chelsea side that got, and Chelsea supporters, who got carried away with this powder puff Club World Cup nonsense. Absolute nonsense, right? This here is their bread and butter. This here is what will define their manager. The Premier League. So you can forget all that World Club Champions nonsense and all that. This is the crux of how their season will be defined and whether he will remain in a job. And at the moment, the early signs are they are creaking and cracking under the pressure.
Is that harsh, Tom, considering they were down to 10 men? Do we not just turn the page and see what happens next week?
No, because what I'm seeing from Chelsea and what I was listening to on the phone-ins and most of the callers that I was listening to were spot on. Enzo Maresca can't manage the substitutions. They're furious at the likes of Neto coming off last week. When you go down to 10 men, Dan, it's pretty simple. You want ball carriers on the pitch. You want your quickest player on the pitch. You took Neto off last week, done exactly the same today for Lavia. Estevao then comes off, and Chelsea fans are thinking, like, what we're doing? We're trying to hang on to a 1-0. I think it was 1-0 at a time, then 1-1. We're trying to hang on at home. You know, they're a young side, but we can't keep saying they're a young side. At some point, they're going to need managing from Maresca. All these young players now have got to find some maturity to manage themselves and see a game through and know what to do on a football pitch. We've all played the game where you can't just lean on your manager all of the time. You can't go to a manual on 35 minutes or 40 minutes and say, right, what do we do in the manual? You've got to manage the game. We've all managed games just before half-time when you've gone to a different system on the pitch, or we've pulled front men in to be more defensive to try and get us through to half-time to allow a manager then to deliver his team talk. I'm not seeing it from the players. They haven't got the maturity. And in all honesty, the substitutions that Maresca's been making have been baffling.
I think that to that point as well, I question whether Chelsea have the personnel to play with 10 men. And I say that, I look at João Pedro, and I can't help but compare Chelsea now to Chelsea in my day with a Didier Drogba. With 10 men, you could just put the ball up in the air, and Drogba will take it, will bring it down, he'll keep hold of it, he'll bring other players into the game. João Pedro is not that kind of player. He wants to run in behind defences. So when you're pinned back, he gets drawn in because he wants to run by defence. And so Chelsea don't have that out ball. And as a result, they just have to sit and absorb as much pressure as clearly they did. So they don't have that personnel either, so which again kind of adds to why there's pause there with 10 men.
Brentford with the victory. Here's Ruben Amorim.
The frustration is that every goal, the goals today, we work on that during the week. That is frustrating. We can do better with the ball. We can have more control. We can understand that sometimes when the decisions are not in your favor, the momentum is not in your favor, we can control the ball. We can settle down the game. And that is something that I know this team can do. But when everything, the moments, the penalty, the foul before the first goal, all these things are against us. We need to have more personality to control the games, calm down the games, and then to play better.
Blah, blah, blah. Manchester United sitting 14th in the table, then just 7 points from their opening 6 matches. Another defeat to add to Ruben Amorim's tally. I feel like I kind of say this every time. What's new?
Well, you know what? I never look to the bench very often during a game, particularly when you become an experienced player. And you sort of make your own. And Don touched on this in talking about the Chelsea game. Is professional players of supposedly some repute, as some of these United players supposedly are, is you make big decisions for yourself, right? But if I was just on the off chance fancying a little look over to the bench for maybe something, some kind of instruction or something, I'm seeing the most uninspiring manager just there.
Right.
Just sat there with his head in his hands, buried. Whether it's a penalty, whether it's during the game. And before, he talked about working and stuff in midweek. What are they working on? What, Harry Maguire stepping up when he should be running? What, defending a 60-yard long ball? What are they working on? And by the way, for those that didn't watch this game, Brentford went 2-0 up, and before the United's only goal, it could have been 4. Mm-hmm. I'll give Altay his due in the first half. He made 2 or 3 at 2-0. Brilliant saves to make sure it wasn't 4-0 on half an hour. But he's still flapping at every ball coming in, and they were taking long throws and they were doing all sorts. And what got me again, and you know this is something I've touched on, Bruno Fernandes not missing a penalty, because we can all miss penalties, but he seems to be missing a lot at the moment. He's their most creative player. And at 2-1, on 80 minutes, when they were, I'm not going to say trying to knock the wall down, because it was a bit powder puff, but they had lots of possession, and Brentford were trying to see the game out. Bruno Fernandes gave the ball to Kobe Mainoo and stood in the halfway line. Where do I want him? You are absolutely searching, you are desperate. And my captain is in the centre circle, passing the ball to the sub, who's not as good a creator, who's not as good a ball striker, who's not as good a finisher, and yet here he is again, and this is my bugbear. This is my bugbear, is for all the problems, and there are many, they need to get Fernandes into that front 3, where he can do some damage, to take some pressure off this back 4. But the fact he keeps playing him with Casemiro and Aguati, or whoever it is, doesn't really matter, he's in the wrong position. I know you didn't sign anybody in the summer for that position, but tough cheese, that's your problem. And, you know, I don't know what else to say. They're 14th.
Yeah,
you know what? They are a side that looks like a 14th position side.
Yeah.
In
If it wasn't Manchester United, we wouldn't even bother talking about this game.
No.
Because nothing really is a
In
surprise.
Brentford, they have Keith Andrews. He's been coaching. He's a young up-and-coming manager, and he's got a big opportunity at a club where a lot of people think they may go this year because they've just sold the best players.
Yeah.
Not one, but two. And yet here they are, comfortably defeating Man United, and it could have been worse.
What have you got for us, Don?
Not much, Dan. I mean, the only mad thing about before the game started, before the game started, they could have went joint second, Man United. I mean, do we play Amorim bingo with a system? Do we play Amorim bingo where if he keeps playing players that are out of position? You look at that performance today, there's a little bit of me that feels a little bit of sympathy for them because it should have been Brentford enter 10. Collins 100% should have been sent off, and the match centre today sent out a tweet giving the reason why he wasn't sent off, and he said Mbeumo wasn't in control of playing the ball. Well, we are never in control of playing the ball unless you're dribbling with the ball. Often things in the 18-yard box are first-time finishes. So I thought that was a really bad decision, but it's just, we've got nothing here, Dan, because I'm glad Craig mentioned that Amorim, had his head in his hands, and at PLP, they ran a bit at half-time. And we're sitting watching the game, and all he done, and he talked about personality there, Amorim, at the end of the game, and he's talked about it. He said, look, I'm looking for personality, and we've got the personality. You're not showing anything on the bench. Like, you look quite defeated. Like, if your players are resembling what you're showing sitting on the sidelines with your head in your hands and got no control and feeling shattered, or you're feeling as though you've got nothing left or no more solutions, you lose the players double quick. And Craig's nailed it again. I mean, Amorim bingo. Right. Bruno Fernandes playing out of position. Why on earth they signed the 3 forward line players when they could have bought Belieber for 100 million and just played Bruno Fernandes as a number 10? Did you really need to buy Mbeumo and Cunha and Šeško? Not for me. You could have bought a world-class goalkeeper in Emi Martinez or Donnarumma and Belieber, and that would have went a long way to solve the problem. So it reminds me of Ten Hag, where you'll have another game. And another game is they'll win that one because it'll be Sunderland at home. We've got a good win today. But the likelihood at Old Trafford they'll beat Sunderland. Then it's the game after that, Liverpool away. So he's sort of living in Amorim world where it's game by game. He's going to be sacked. He'll win one. He's under pressure. He'll win another one. And they'll finish, I don't know, mid-table.
And we'll never know about last week, will we? Because for the second week in a row, Chelsea have had somebody sent off and folded, which is what they did at Old Trafford after 5 minutes. I mean, it was 85 minutes plus injury time with 10 men and a manager who had a panic up. So, they got lucky. They didn't get lucky this week with the call on the penalty and the sending off. It should have been a sending off, and what was it Don called it? The match centre.
Yes.
They want to light a match to it with nonsense like that. You know what I mean? He's not. Of course, you're not in control of the ball when somebody's pulling you. But once again, against 11 men, they've been found out. And I tell you what, and he wasn't the only one, but he's been a big signing for them, or he's supposed to be. It's a good job Benjamin Sesko got a goal today, because I can't remember I'm doing anything else. Mm-hmm. Nothing else in the game. Nothing. Normally with a striker or something, even somebody with not a lot of service, you'll go, tell you what, took that in well, and that was a lovely flick around the corner. All that sort of nothing. He got the finish, but that was it.
Don't worry, we'll have Oggy on this week. He'll cheer everyone up.
Oh, it'll be great.
Did you want to add something, Shane?
No, well, I wanted to add, this is the first time I've seen Amorim's post-game press conference. And I'm like, Craig, what was he talking about? We worked on this all week. A long ball from the back, and for some reason you play a high line, no pressure on the ball, you play a high line. You look at the second goal, that ball again lumped forward. And there is nothing about Manchester United defensively that says anybody knows where the other person is. There are 4 players just running in random directions, it feels like. I'm desperate to now know exactly what it is they're working on, because there is absolutely no evidence of that at all. And Craig touched on the substitutions. 66 minutes, you're behind, or be dominating the game. You're behind. You take off Maguire and Ugarte to bring on Euro and Menu. Like for like. No real effort to change the game in any kind of way. I get it. You don't have a whole lot of options. Don't ask me how that is, given the money that Manchester United spent. But you go like for like at a moment that you're dominating and you're in desperate need of goals. nothing about it makes sense from Amorim for me.
There's not much. We're going to move on because what are you going to say? Manchester City beat Burnley. They were good. Are they in the title race? Well, certainly that is a discussion maybe for later on in the week. For Tottenham, especially all the love that we've given Frank since coming in. 2 drop points against a side he really should be beating. Should we talk about this? What do you want to say about this, Craig? You were watching this?
We were, yeah, I mean, some decent football in the first half. Finishing wasn't great, but played some decent stuff. Lost away a little bit. Started the second half. Obviously, Wolves got the goal. Not a lot to say about it. Xavi Simons, he can be lively, but I think he overcomplicates it. Kudos, you know, I think once he gets himself comfortable in there with all his teammates, I think there is definitely a very good player in there. We saw it at West Ham. But yeah, I think it's a difficult one to make the transition for Spurs from this sort of kamikaze team, well, from the defensive team to the kamikaze under Postecoglou, and they're looking for somewhere in between. And I think they're still sort of struggling to find that identity, if I'm being honest with you.
No, I don't have anything to add, Dan.
Okay, all right. Don, would you like to add anything?
No, I was flicking from that and the golf.
All right, well, thanks for your professionalism. Really burning the money. I appreciate that. Thanks, Don. Don't mention what happened. Sunday and Monday, the games continue.
We were watching the golf too.
Villa taking on Fulham, Newcastle United against Arsenal, West Ham, of course, with a new man in charge. Potter out, Nuno in. His first tie in charge of the Hammers will be away against Everton. We've got a question about that on Extra Time as well, by the way. We'll be addressing that. So we won't be addressing that. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you very much for all your questions. Don is here. Don, you missed out on Craig's lovely cupcakes he had this week.
They were fantastic.
They were very nice, Craig.
Ooh, how was it?
They're lovely. Craig didn't take any of them home, though. He was in a grump. We were even.
Is that the ones that were in your fridge, Dan?
Yeah, that was what Joshy found in our fridge to scare him.
I didn't take them.
I've seen them.
Myself.
Did you not?
Oh, well, I had them right here. It was great.
No, I took some of them to the kids. They were very happy, Craig. Thank you so much.
I'm
such a giving man.
What?
Per Don's earlier post about West Ham's owners, his solution to what is a perennial problem in East London.
Don't know what Don's post was.
Well, Don
has to tell us
what was your post, Don, first, for those people who don't follow your every move?
So my post was, I don't think it's a Graham Potter thing. I don't think it's a Lopetegui or a David Moyes thing. I think the owners need to take a look at themselves. They've sold Upton Park and now West Ham fans haven't got a home. They're renting the London Stadium. And I just feel desperately sorry for West Ham fans. They've got nothing to latch onto. They've got nothing to cling on to. The hardcore fans don't really want to go to the Athletic Stadium. They want their home. They want a home built for them. It's not going to happen. It's a pipe dream. But it's the only legacy I can think that the owners might leave behind. If you look at what Daniel Levy's done, my son was very fortunate to train with Tottenham. They've got the best training facilities in the country. The stadium is one of the best in the country. And what have West Ham fans got? A rented stadium.
Oh dear. Do you like Nuno as an appointment to go from Potter?
Yeah, I mean, a bit like the cupcakes, really. I can take it or leave it.
Oh, they were much nicer than Nuno.
Yeah.
Huh?
Hey, Nuno get one in his beard.
Tell you what, I just don't have the energy for all this posting.
You know what's good for that? Cupcakes.
Just don't, you know what I mean?
Cupcakes give you energy, I found.
I've got so bored of this social media now.
Oh, well, Don's into it, that's all right.
I know,
Some
but
people
it's
are,
like,
aren't they? There we
honestly, just put, and the people that are on it.
Yes.
I mean, most people are all right. If you want your news, you follow people that give you your news, whatever news you want, sports or whatever.
Yep,
but all this post and then responding to people who basically are just morons. I just don't understand it. It's like,
That's the whole idea though, Craig.
What?
That's the idea of it.
What?
Engaging with morons?
That's the idea of it, to have a conversation with people.
Engaging with idiots?
Yeah.
No.
But what did you go out in the first place for?
That's the idea of it. If you get nothing better to do in your life. That's not the idea of it. If you've got time to do other things. I mean, why would I, for example,
Hang on.
Why would I want to go home
I see you
tonight?
post every now and again.
Once a month.
I see you post every now and again.
Yeah, once a month, and then I'll leave it. What do you think I'm going to do? Do you think I'm going to go home tonight and put something on X or Twitter, and then all the people that respond to it, I'm then going to get in a debate about that? Jesus, God, no.
Don,
good grief.
After their thrashing of Burnley, is anybody ready to say that Manchester City is back? Or was their lacklustre performance at Arsenal more of what we should expect when they come up against tougher teams?
It's hard to say they're back, but they've had a brilliant week. I mean, they beat Man United in the Manchester Derby, drew against Arsenal and won today. So they've still got a bit of convincing to do when they play the big sides. Defensively, are they sound enough to be in a title race? But listen, the form that Doku's in, the form that Haaland's in. We mentioned Florian Wirtz. I remember being on the show at the start, before the season started, and I said Phil Foden could be Man City's Florian Wirtz. He's had a brilliant start to the season as well. So I'd never write a pep team off, not just yet.
Should Liverpool be worried about today's game, or is this all a process of Slot figuring out what the best combination is and the team getting to understand each other, Shaka?
The latter.
Craig?
What?
What do you mean, what? Answer the question. You're not on Twitter now.
Twitter's for your news.
You're not on Twitter now. I'm asking you a question that somebody has sent in, and it's a very interesting question.
Twitter's for news.
It's not a Twitter rant.
Why don't I walk down the pub?
No.
Why don't I walk
your Twitter rant?
Why don't I just walk into a random bar? Shut up. Why don't I walk into a random bar tonight? And talk to every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the restaurant?
If he's not careful,
every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
If he's not careful,
what?
If he's not careful, I'm going to tell him the golf results.
No, don't.
If you're not careful, play ball, Craig. Play ball. Come on.
Should Liverpool be worried? If you've watched Liverpool this season, you should every game you should be concerned that he's struggling to find the right balance. And we saw it last year with Real Madrid and Ancelotti, who is a much more experienced and much more successful manager than Arne Slot, and he was trying to figure out Mbappe coming in, and they've brought Wirtz in. I'm not comparing the two, but it's two star players for different clubs. And he's trying to figure out how he would take a winning mentality and a winning team at Real Madrid with Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. and how he would change that. And that was a struggle. And Slot's got the same problems.
Obligatory percentage question for Don. Percentage chance Amorim is sacked before the end of the season.
Ooh.
I think it'll be low. I think it'll be.
Don.
Let's say
you're going 80.
I reckon he might be gone by Christmas.
he will be sacked.
Really?
Yeah, will be sacked.
Nah, because they'll keep winning the game. They'll keep winning the odd game.
Well, he hasn't won back-to-back Premier League games, has he? I heard that, so I'm sure when I was waking up this morning.
Nah, have you seen? I mean, I don't know if Craig's on Instagram, but he should be for the Man United boy who's not cutting his hair.
Craig's just gone, man. I'm on Twitter.
Listen, if you're not on it,
pimping his MySpace still, so don't worry about that.
You should.
Why would I be on
Craig,
Instagram?
You should go on it.
Why
should go on it for the Man United fan.
I'm on X. I'm on X, and not because I'm told by work.
Listen.
I'm not told by work. If I wanted to give up X, I'd give it up.
Oh, you're hard.
My boss says to me, you got to go on X.
Nobody's telling you to go on X. Why are you making up this fantasy
I'm
conversation?
talking to my phone. Well, why would I then go
You're
on?
like Arteta. It's been blowing up.
Since we started this segment, my phone's been blowing up.
Oh, God.
With people. It's Mikel Arteta's been blowing up.
Dan.
Yes, Don.
Go on X,
Dan, you must have seen the boy. Dan, you must have seen the boy, the Man United fan that's not cutting his hair till Man U win 5 games in a row.
Yeah.
His hair is like 4 foot tall. It's hilarious.
It's going to be Marge Simpson.
Send it to Craig.
Yeah, send it to Craig.
Send it to Craig. Because he's not on Instagram.
His AOL account.
He's on X.
Do you think?
Hold on, remember that conversation we had with Stevie? About AOL. We said, I said, why don't you get a Gmail? And he went, well, it's not a proper email, is it?
Not a Gmail, yeah. He's still asking Jeeves. Do you think Glasner can take Palace to another level this season and fight for a European spot, Don?
Well, didn't he take them last season to another level?
Well, he's going to take it to another level.
Yeah.
What are you getting angry about?
Maybe.
That's not a bad question. That's a nice question.
Well, he took him to another level last year.
Yeah, well, can he take him to the next level?
Oh, boy. This is so good.
Don. I don't know why this is.
Well, I'm going to save Craig. He just wants to go home.
I don't want to go home.
Yes, to answer that question, the answer to that question is yes. They play Dynamo Kiev midweek in the conference. So if they win the conference, that is another level.
Don, start, bench and drop these teams to start the season that's most impressed you. Sunderland, Palace, Bournemouth.
Sunderland have impressed me. Who was the other one? Sunderland?
Crystal Palace.
Bournemouth.
If you think they can make the next level, Bournemouth.
So Palace unbeaten in 18. They would start. Bench is Sunderland and drop Bournemouth.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Ekitike to blame for Reds' loss, Shaka. 4-2-2 formation today. Was it not a good day to try the new formation? Slot to blame. Should Chiesa start?
Well, they lost, but no, Chiesa should
You want him to start a new formation?
Well, 4-2-2-2-2 today is what they're suggesting.
What?
Remember John Barnes tried to play that at Celtic?
Oh, yeah, that was it. Should we call time on this extra
I
time?
tell you what, I'm happy to say this. I'm generally a man of the people, right? I'm serious. But I cannot.
What do you mean you're generally man of the people?
I talk to people when I'm outside of here, away from.
So Don interacting with Twitter seems to have really got at you.
No, but I'm
angry.
not. When I'm out away, I'm always talking to people. We see this
All
Twitter
right, well
thing.
done.
See this Twitter thing with these bots and
These
morons.
bots.
and some of the guff on there.
Right.
Spare me.
So Don, right.
Spare me.
I think we'll call it, shall we? That is it. That
Do what
brings
you
us
want.
to the
Call
end.
it if you want.
No, I will call it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Call it if you want.
ESPN FC returns to the Grinch.
See this?
It's so good.
Twitter.
Oh dear.
Oh, Instagram.
That's it.
Oh, God.